to this meeting. We're going to have a meeting next Friday night, midnight. You come. I said, okay. They gave me the address, wrote down the address, told me how to get there, a little map. And sure enough, on that Friday night, I drove over there. And it's in the Rissy district of our city. And, you know, we come from a lower middle class. You don't go up in the Rissy district. You know, you don't even have any business up there. But we were driving around up in there, and all of a sudden, I turned the corner, and I recognized the house, and it was my old high school biology teacher. And I pulled up in the driveway, and I got out, and I went up to the door, and I thought, man, I've got the wrong house. Knocked on the door, and I was shocked when he answered the door. And he was dressed in a black robe, holding a black candle. And he said, I'm glad to meet you, Stephen. He said, come on in, we've been expecting you. And sure enough, my old high school biology teacher came out from the back. And I said, you too? He said, yes. And now I was looking for the circle on the floor, so you can imagine I was pretty relieved when I didn't see any circles, painted on the floor, and people were dressed. So I felt pretty much comfortable. The only difference was that on the wall, on his wall, on the right-hand side, was a black cross hanging upside down. And then as you go back to the halls, on each side of the walls, there were pictures depicting pictures of hell, like demons casting people off into hell flames with pitchforks, things like that. I looked at him and I said, you're a devil worshiper? And he said, yes. He said, we know where the true power is. And I said, oh. And so he said, I want to introduce you to someone. A man came out of the back. He was about 6'2", thin, had a hood on his head, still in a black robe, carrying another black candle. He walked out and introduced himself as Michael. And Michael said, glad to meet you. He said, we're very interested in you. He said, we've been watching you very carefully. In fact, we know things about you that you don't think we know. Now that made me feel real comfortable. Then he looked at me and he said, we think you just may be the new blood we're looking for. Now I want to tell you something. You're in a group of people that are holding black candles, they're dressed in black robes, and you know they worship the devil, and they look at you and tell you that you're the new blood they're looking for. First thing that goes through your mind is, oh my God, they want to sacrifice me. But that wasn't the case, and he must have read my mind because he said, no, that's not it. He said, our leader is going back to a grotto. Grotto, by the way, in witchcraft you have covens, and that's 13 young women, it could be older women, but 13 women, then you have a high priestess that rules over them. In Satanism you have what's called grottos, and there are no certain number of men or women, it's just all mixed. Then you have a high priest and a high priestess that rules over them. And he said he was going back to take over a grotto on the West Coast, and they needed somebody to fill his place. And they thought I was the one that might be just in position for that. And he said, what we want you to do is we want you to continue to come to meetings. So I did for the next 6 months. And my high school biology teacher became my mentor, taught me everything I needed to know. And by that time, I was really getting into this, and I mean, the people made me feel so comfortable and so welcome. And I mean, they're just like, their hands and their arms were open. And you'd look over on a table, and there'd be lines of cocaine, and there'd be mescaline, and there'd be heroin. I mean, everything that you could imagine would be on this table. And they said, if that's what you want, there it is. And they looked over here and they said, there was a line of women sitting on a couch. And they said, if that's what you're into, he said, all you got to do is point out that woman, we'll send them back in the back. Well, being around Satanists, I didn't want to get high. And I'm real shy around women, so that didn't really, that didn't really appeal to me. So I said, no, I'll just stand around and watch, see what you guys do. And so I did. And I picked up everything that they needed to tell me. And then one night they started talking about something about sacrifice. And I looked at them and I thought, no, I don't know about this. Because see, I was dragged to Sunday school, okay, as a child.